The guitar that I'm going to demonstrate first is also an auditorium-sized guitar. We call them jumbos. And this one's a little bit unusual, just like the Holtzappels are a little unusual. This one is unusual because it was made by one of the Italian makers working in New York City in the turn of the about 1900 to maybe 1920. And we refer to them as the Italian Luthiers Guild. And these guitars are unique, and they're like Stella guitars or the Oscar Schmidt instruments. And it's reported by Neil and others who have done the research that many of the Italian luthiers in Manhattan also went across the river and worked in Jersey City in the Oscar Schmidt factory. So they also went home and produced their own guitars out of their own shops, and this is one example there. Things that make them different from a typical factory-produced Oscar Schmidt 12-string jumbo. First of all, the neck is actually not a traditional dovetail neck joint. It has more of a straight-in mortise and tenon, so the sides actually come up and the neck sits down in between the ends of the sides. And other things that make it kind of unique for that type of build is you're going to see this style of purfling that is typical on a lot of the Italian Guild instruments. We've had a number of them over the years, and Neil's had a number of them. And it seems like they either bought it, by the ship load, or they were sharing it amongst themselves. Who knows? But you often see these multiple layers connected together like this. The other thing that makes them a little bit different from the Oscar Schmidt factory-produced guitars is these are really finely made instruments. You can pretty much tell that they're almost like a custom-made low-production instrument. First of all, the finish is very, very clean and smooth, and all the fittings, everything that was fit together fits very well. And there's also a fine layer here on the sides. Even when they did the binding on the neck, you can see a very fine layer of ebony in there that kind of finished off the side and make it very, very flashy to the eye as well. Comparing this to the factory-made Oscar Schmidt jumbos, this one sort of has maybe a sweeter tone to it. For some reason, there aren't a whole lot out there, so it's tough to make these comparisons. But generally speaking, this example tends to have a more sweet tone when compared to like a lead belly type Oscar Schmidt jumbo. We often call these examples the deluxe version because they have the fancy inlay they have on the fingerboard, and they have the extra purfling around the sound hole, and they're also bound on the neck and around the headstock, fancy tuners. The materials are spruce. It looks like a nice grade of red spruce, and the back and sides are mahogany. Has a nice purfling strip inlaid down the middle of the back, and interestingly, it's different from the inlay that's on the top. Has a mahogany neck. And on many of the Oscar Schmidt guitars, you'll find that the V-shaped neck. However, this is not quite the baseball bat of the Holtzappel, but this is a rounded carve that is typical of the Italian luthiers. And it's a nice handful, but it's not a handful that is just uncomfortable to play. So it's just a very, very sweet guitar, very nice guitar.